Greetings, dear beloveds. This is White Wolf. I'm going to start off by enacting protocols called upon Alive, Fire Dragon, Earth, Water Dragon, Earth, Fire Dragon, Flying Speed Dragon, Golden Orange Dragon, Ezekiel, my two Black Dragons, Black Dragon from Saturn, and Alpha Dragon, Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Sandalphon, Raphael, Mother Mary, Saint Germain, the Galactic Federation of Light, the Intergalactic Council, Grandfather, Grandmother, and the Tribal Women are also in attendance. And so it is. Sorry about that. I was drinking coffee. It kind of makes you stopped up in the throat. But how are you all doing this morning, this evening, wherever you are in the world? This is White Wolf, and I will be talking about what it means to be human, what it means to get rid of your humanity into ascension. Because that's what we're really doing. We don't want to admit it. We believe that we are the negative beliefs that we assumed ourselves to be for such a long time. Some of us have been pessimistic. Some of us have been aggressive. Some of us have anger issues. Some of us are controlling. Some of us are manipulative. Whatever it may be, whatever it was post awakening, whatever it was when you first were who you were, the imposter self, it doesn't matter because then we are becoming a child. We are becoming 5 years old again. And we're trying to figure out that childlike wonder of our true innermost being, of our true nature, of our true state of consciousness. So, what I want you guys to understand is that we are getting rid of the flesh in order to ascend. So, this is why the title of the video was Separation from Humanity to Ascension, because we are ascending. And some of us are trying to get up the ladder, but really we need to ditch the ladder and grow our wings and start flying because we're not a peacock on this mission, okay? Kind of like from that movie with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. We're not a peacock. We don't get like a running start. We need to start flying, is really my point. And I'm going to share out to the groups real quick. Please make an appointment with me in Morningstar. See us on bitchute. See us on Instagram, I_M_movement, all lowercase. Follow the I am movement. Make an appointment with me or Morningstar. And check us out on bitchute as well. So what I want you guys to understand is sometimes we truly have to go into the deep and darkest depths of ourselves to find out who we really are. Sometimes it's really a matter of us coming back home. We're coming back home, we're migrating back to our essential nature of knowing the one infinite source of power, the Oracle of Love, Light, and Wisdom. So I want you guys to understand I've been watching this show called Walker because I see myself within that. And he had to become the darkest part of himself when he had to go undercover to figure out about his wife's killer. Okay? So he had to go undercover and he had to be a criminal and he had to be the darkest part of himself in order to become a better father, in order to become the man that he was supposed to become. So he had his wife be a guide to him. Some of us have to get ourselves out of the coffin. Some of us have to really go into the depths of hell to figure out who we really are so that we can migrate over to heaven, so we can open up the doors of heaven, so we have the keys to the castle of heaven, which is here on earth, because either you have heaven or you have hell. Some of us have different paths. Some of us get rid of negative attachments. Some of us get rid of demons. Some of us are empowerment and intellectual, like myself. Some of us are profound and prophetic and offer emotional healing. It doesn't matter what you're doing, it doesn't matter how you're doing it. You all have a path to enlightenment. We all have a path of enlightenment, but we can't get there if everything here is light, but everything right here is dark. It doesn't work that way. You have to be a perfect beam of pure white light. You have to be the essential knowing of your innermost being. You have to know yourself. You have to accept yourself. You have to accept all aspects of yourself. And you got to truly analyze why you do certain things when you do that certain thing, why you get angry when that certain thing triggers you. So it's really emptying out your ego, emptying out your arrogance, emptying out everything about you, your anger, your triggers, everything about yourself that is the flesh, that is the 3D. And as you empty out the 3D, you are becoming a multi-dimensional being. You're becoming so seventh dimensional that you don't even understand what you're doing. Sometimes you will talk, sometimes you will speak, sometimes a galactic being will come through you and you won't even know its name. And it might be just symbols. It might be just a different language that you don't understand, but that's what we're coming to. We're coming back to being the star seed that we really are. So I want you guys to understand is that your inner work, your inner work is not even really inner work. Your shadow work isn't even really shadow work. What it really is you just emptying yourself out like a vacuum. And as you empty yourself out like a vacuum, you're becoming more purified in your stance. You're becoming more of an angelic human being. You're migrating from a demon to an angel. But you're not necessarily the archangels, but you are God in human form. You are Source in human form, which is the Oracle of Love, Light, and Wisdom. And I wanted to talk about, I've been really depressed lately. That I've been going through a crucible. I've been going through so many things. Going to that burial mound and seeing my mother and sister and clearing things out and coming back home for the first time because a lot of that trip to Tampa was for me. It was in a lot of ways to bless Morningstar, but a lot of it was for me. I had to look at some things that I was doing and I had to correct them. I had to change them. I had to analyze them. I had to go live. But it's not always just about going live, but it's just about sitting in the space, in the silent quietness, subtleness of spirit. When you sit in that space, when you sit in that quietness, when you sit and you just breathe in spirit, when you hear the call, when you get led and get pushed off the ledge and you jump in and you dive into the water and you're diving into the oils of God's source energy, you can't climb the ladder if this is dark, or if this is just light and this is dark. You have to understand that it's not a matter of light and dark. Some of you are neutral workers, some of you are shadow workers. That's all good and well for all of you. But if you want to be a pristine Pegasus, you have to really empty yourself out and become who you're supposed to become. And I wanted to talk about an exchange that I had with another human being who came over to a friend of ours in Tampa. And a lot of spiritual stuff happens there. And sometimes spirits like, go over to this house. So we go over to this house. And there was this woman there. And the spirit orchestrated it. And so she was supposed to get words from MorningStar. And really, she was there for the friend to give him some words, to give him some insight. And then she wanted to give me some insight. And my guide said no. Excuse me, I need something to drink. So my guide said no, and then I looked over to Morningstar, and she was like, "Go ahead, have the exchange with her." And so as I was having this exchange with her, as I sat down in front of her, the weather started to change. The wind started to move very abruptly. So I knew that's when it got serious. And I was telling her things with my telepathy because I was very guarded. Because you have to be guarded on the spiritual path. You have to understand boundaries. You have to understand that energy is energy and you do not want to be infiltrated by someone else's energy. So you have to stay guarded. And Morningstar was very, very proud of me in this exchange. So at first I was telling her stuff because I knew what she was going to become. I knew she was going to be a Reiki master. I knew she was going to do this and I knew she was going to do that. But all of a sudden, she stopped me and she was like, "What you're giving me is guarded." Hmm. I said, "Yeah, what I am giving you is very guarded." And she's like, "Well, you got to open yourself up to me." I'm like, "Well, no, I don't." Because there was a lifetime between me and this other person that didn't go very well. And there was some exchange to be had here, and I've used some of it in my live feeds as well. So as I'm having this exchange with this human being, I'm trying to deliver stuff to her, and everything right here about her was light. She had the gifting. She knew what to do with it. And she was there for a specific person, but she could not receive from me or Morningstar. There was something in her spirit that she wanted to climb up the ladder, but you have to fall down from the ladder, and you got to knock the ladder down, and you have to understand that you got to grow your wings, and you got to be pure, radiant white light. And then she said something to me that there is no such thing as pure white light. And that's why it was very hard for her to receive from me, because she knew that I was standing my ground and that she was intimidated. And this is not out of ego, this is truly um, something to be had for all of you. Because when someone's not on your frequency, sometimes they need to hear the divine masculine. Sometimes they need to hear a harsh lesson. And she was like, oh, how do I not care about people? I have all their energy and I can't get rid of it. I said, you have to use attachment to non-attachment. And I said, it's not that you don't care about the beings. It's not that you don't care about people. It's not that you're not a caring and loving person. But what it really means is that you are not keeping their energy within you. You are grounded. You are respecting the gifting and you are respecting yourself. You know, and I had to give her a grown-up ass message because she needed to hear from me. And she's like, I can't do it. I'm like, yes, you can do it. You can do it. You're talking yourself out of it. You're talking yourself out of becoming who you really are. You have to understand something, that you have to respect the gifting. You have to stay grounded. You have to have boundaries. You have to really understand that you are going to give people messages that is not going to tickle their fancy. And she actually thanked me for this, and she thanked Morningstar for this, because we were there to help her. We were there to give her some insight and make her realize what pure white light is.
And it was a divine appointment.
And it was a
She just stopped by.
and she just stopped by. She just randomly stopped by. I was just got done doing a live feed, and as I got done doing that live feed, you know, we were going to give her some words, but she just was not willing to hear the truth. It's like she had a very neutral energy about her. It just wasn't the light and it wasn't the dark. It was very, very neutral. And when you are only neutral, when you are only dark, you're only vibrating at a certain point. You can only go from third density or fourth density when you should be going from fifth and sixth and seventh density. That's the only way, because the light worker's way is to reach higher and higher and higher and not use the ladder and grow your wings and start flying and start soaring like the eagle. Some of our paths are different. Some of us have to go through certain doors to understand the light. Sometimes we have to go into the depths of hell to find the light. Some of us have to see our true shadow self in order to find the light. Some of us have to truly analyze our behavior to understand why we keep going in the revolving door of emotions. So I want you guys to understand is that that exchange was divinely orchestrated by spirit. So what I want you guys to kind of take with you is that you are going to have such harsh lessons. You are going to go through crucibles. You are going to face yourself. And then you're going to have to learn to live with yourself. And then you're going to have to learn that everything post awakening was a true hallucination of your unconscious mind. And you will be depressed. And you will want to give up. And you will want to not go on. And you will not want to persevere. But that is just the imposter self trying to tell you, talk you out of becoming who you really are. You can keep saying negative things to yourselves to the point where you don't believe it anymore. And I did that with myself last night. I had to say that I wasn't worthy of having money. I wasn't worthy of having this. I wasn't worthy of having clients. I wasn't worthy of having. I didn't earn my spiritual journey. I had to say all those things to myself to reassure myself that that was not true. That negativity is not truth. Negativity is the imposter self. Because positive reinforcement, positive thinking, positive affirmations is Christ consciousness, is God's source energy. Negative beliefs is the Satan of all beliefs. It's the Antichrist of all thoughts. Limiting beliefs are not true, they are just a figment of our imagination. So, what I want you guys to kind of jive with this and grok this is that the only person that is prohibiting us from going higher and higher and higher is ourselves, is our humanity, is our flesh. And we need to really hold the vision and hold it tightly and have the view and the perspective of God and seeing God within all things and seeing that God is sitting across from us, that God is everything and that we are God and that we are not a single individuation of source, but we are the source of all things. We are all that there is. We are just the reason why there is before creation and after creation. We're the reason why there is manifestation. But the only reason why you're not manifesting or you're not getting what you want is because you can't get past the false self. You can change your whole life in a matter of 24 hours, in a matter of a second, in a matter of 2 minutes if you just know this one thing, that I am worthy of infinite love and abundance. I am worthy of this. I am worthy of that. I will get this and I will get that. It will happen. It just hasn't happened yet. So keep playing the lottery. Keep trying. Keep persevering. Keep understanding. Keep clearing yourself out as the vacuum. And as you keep clearing and clearing and clearing and clearing, you become more masterful. You will become more intelligent. You'll become more intellectual. But you're going to have to go through some doors. And I'm really saying this about myself because most of my life feeds are about me. They're not about you. So I'm going to have to go through certain doors to become enlightened. It might take me 30 years to become enlightened. That's okay. It's not a race. Some of you think it's a race, but some of you need to understand that slow and steady wins the race. And if it has to take you 50 years to get enlightened, then enjoy the path, enjoy the journey, enjoy the trials and tribulation of your journey. Enjoy that the journey is the destination, is that everything that you go through now is going to be a reflection of your future. But what we get this, we believe that we are just a silly human being. We believe that we're this finite body. We truly believe that we're just black and white and that there's not a gray area. We believe that we have to work ourselves to death and pay penance to become worthy of something. And being unworthy is actually very arrogant because you believe that you are not worthy of tasting the fruits of life and that you have it worse than someone else. When we believe that we're unworthy, and when we start believing that we are worthy, we get everything that we want. But most of the time, we get into this revolving door of emotions, of triggers, of being controlling, of being manipulative, of being angry, of being obsessed, of trying too hard, when you really should be happy where you're at. You should be purified in where you're coming from. It's not where you're going, but where are you coming from? Because fearlessness, courageousness, and grace is the only way that you're going to purify where you're coming from, not where you're going. I mean, some people act like that we're going to get everything handed to us right here and now. Maybe we're not ready for that. Maybe we're not ready to host retreats. Maybe we're not ready to do webinars. Maybe we're not ready for that. Maybe we're just only ready for what we're doing right now, and that's okay. But in maybe 5, 10 years, you'll be where you're at. But we shouldn't rush. We shouldn't fast forward the spiritual journey, because then we miss out on some things, and we miss out on some clearing. We miss out on some experiences. We miss out on some reflections that are needed for our consciousness to be more purified. And some of you, and I'm just feeling this right now because I haven't been at my best. I haven't been, white wolf. I haven't been in white wolf mode. I've been clearing a lot of stuff from my past, and finally coming home and tapping into my true signature, not the other signature that I used to have. Because my other signature was quite like preaching. And when you preach, you're not really teaching. And when you're teaching, you're not really teaching. You're just sort of letting people know and trying to impart knowledge. And if they get it, they get it. And if they don't, they don't. If they don't ever watch you again, then attachment to non attachment and go about your day. And if I blessed you one time with any messages that I ever gave you, God bless you. Be on your way. Maybe you're not ready to have a bunch of clients, but be happy where you're at in this moment, because that's all you have is this moment. That's all you have is the now. The internal present will lead to your future. But if you keep taking 2 steps back, you will always be in the past, and you will always be stagnant, and you will always be stuck, and you will always be who you are right now. But tap into your brilliance. Tap into who you are. Tap into your spirit. Tap into your grace. Tap into your humility and your devotion to wanting to change people's lives. And if you just do that, then everything will come for you. And if you just keep tapping in, if you just keep listening, if you just keep learning and remain teachable, because I'm not teachable at all. I can tell you that right now. I mean, I'm somewhat teachable, but I'm not teachable. I never have been in my life. But that's the spiritual journey. We're rebels. We're rebellious. Most of us are rebellious, having the spiritual awakening. We are. We have a rebellious spirit in us because we went through hell to get to where we are right now. We went through the crucibles. We went through the lessons, the catalysts, the reflections to get to where we are at this point in time right now, here and now. Some of us are just not happy with just enough. But sometimes you have to leave where you are. Sometimes you have to go see for yourself to truly realize what you had. Sometimes you have to go on a really crazy trip to realize what you have and how blessed that you are. And I'm not saying get comfortable about where you're at right now. I'm not saying stay stagnant and stay comfortable and stay within one state of consciousness. But how can you be happy to where you are going in your life if you're not happy with what's going on right now? How are you going to be happy when you get $1 million if you're not happy right now? How are you going to be happy when you have a bunch of clients? If you're unhappy if you have a bunch of clients, and when you get more clients and your head spinning and you're getting nudged in so many different directions and it's making your head spin, and you're like, fuck, fuck, can I handle this? Am I ready for this? Am I ready to just be gung ho about this and just dive off the cliff into enlightenment? Am I ready for it? Am I truly ready for the emphatic journey of my spiritual awakening? How am I justified to tell someone how to live their life when I can't even handle myself? And this isn't psychological. I, I, I know people want to say that it's psychological. but it's spiritual. It's spiritual psychology. You can make an excuse that it's psychological, but it's spiritual psychology. It's something that happened in a different lifetime. It's something that happened to you in the past. It's something that happened to you in a different reality, alternate reality, an off planet even. But we awaken so that we can get over that shit. And really, what it is that we can't get past it, and that's why we stay stuck. That's why we stay in the revolving door of spirituality. Some of you are being fast tracked. I know I'm being fast tracked. It's very difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's a cakewalk. It's not the red carpet. I'm not in an action movie like Tom Cruise and just saving MorningStar and just, being the hero all the time. Sometimes it feels like that on the spiritual journey, but it's not always like that. But if you are chosen, if you are one of the chosen one, God is going to pave out a way for you, whether you know it or not. And I had Thomas Sawyer tell me this, that if God has a way for you, if He is paving out a way for you and carving out your gemstone for you, and not some fake diamond in the rough, but if He's carving out a path for you, then why are you making it so difficult on yourself? If the grace of God is on your life and you have your hands out like this and you're waiting for Him to put water into your hands so that you can drink from the fountain of source, you already have drink from the fountain of source if you feel like you're not worthy of it. In your messiest moments, in your most disgusting moments, in your most heinous moments, you will find true transcendence. You will find true bliss. You will understand that you have to just forgive yourself and you just have to move on. Because judgment itself is ego. When you keep being negative to yourself, that is your ego. And I'm not just saying this about you, because sometimes people are like, oh, you're so justified. Well, this is every light worker's journey. It's a deconstruction of everything that holds you back. It's going to cost you everything, but it's everything that is holding you back. It's a deconstruction of ego. It's a deconstruction of the imposter self and letting that collapse. And then finally, you spread your wings out of your back and it's sort of just popping out of your shoulders. And it's just a growth process. And it takes a little bit each time to grow your wings and to pop out of your back. And then you are like a human Pegasus without the horn, obviously. But if you wanted to use your imagination, you can use it. And as you spread your wings, you got to start flying. And anything in any other lifetime, and anything in your past, anything that ever happened to you, you just got to look forward. This isn't having blinders on, this is having blinders on. This is being guarded. This is having the bubble, a protection of yourself from your angels, from your fairies, from your dragons, from everyone who is proud of you. And you have to realize that if you are here right now and you're still standing on your 2 feet, that they are proud of you. They love you. Your guides, people passed on, loved ones on the other side. They're proud of you. And it doesn't matter what the 3D says. It doesn't matter about your family. It doesn't matter about your friends. It doesn't matter about the guy down the street. It doesn't matter because the 3D's an illusion. It's an hallucination of your unconscious mind. And what we need to do is just tap in to our true brilliance of who we are. That's the only thing that we need to do. Because at the end of the day, the only person that is keeping us from our spiritual journey is ourselves.
So quit paying penance.
So quit paying penance. You're not paying penance. You're not repenting for your sins. It doesn't matter what mom and dad said. It doesn't matter what your friends say. It doesn't matter what your colleagues say. It only matters what source says. This is source. This is not source. Your mind is not, your brain is not source. But once you start leading with your heart, once you start understanding yourself
And having discernment.
and having discernment and accepting that this is your life, that this is your anointing, that this is your grace, that this is the grace on your life. And you have to make it happen because no one's going to do it for you. And have I been complacent? Have I been arrogant on my path? Have I been vain? Yeah, I have. But I have to forgive myself almost every day. I have to look myself in the mirror and I have to say that I love the person who's staring back at me. I love my hair. I love my face. I love my smile. I love the clothes that I wear. I love the watch that I wear. I love my body. I love myself in all aspects, even though there are bad aspects and there's good aspects. But I love myself in all lifetimes. I love myself in alternate realities. Even when I was a dark angel in another lifetime. And I took credit for being an angel when I had people in the 3D say that they thought I was an angel. I even love that aspect about me, even though it wasn't for my good. But you have to accept all aspects of yourself. And there's sage being burned because I'm talking about certain things right now that are uncomfortable. But sometimes you have to make yourself uncomfortable to really strive for something, to really chase after something. Because that is the only way. Well, if you want to lose weight, stop eating Hungry Howie's every night, you know? Trust me, I'm a victim to Hungry Howie's because I love it. It's so good. Get that meatball sub every time. But if you want to lose weight, just say everything that you're done with. Say that you're done with this, that you're done with that, that I'm ready for this, and yes, I have that. Yes, I want this. Yes, I have $1 million in my bank account. Yes, I am worthy of God's Source Energy's love. Yes, 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 and yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to become who I am. It's not easy. It's gonna take a lot of crucibles. It's gonna take a lot of harsh lessons. Some things you don't want to hear.
Self-evaluation.
Self-evaluation, you know. There's gonna be a lot of things that you're gonna learn about yourself and you're gonna be like, oh, they're not ready to hear it, and then you're gonna have to brace your heart. Trust me, I've had to do it.
Or people and situations so trigger and offend us.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, people and situations are reflections. The 3D is a reflection of what you're not doing. I'm getting hungry, so fuck it, let's do some energy work, okay? So I'm going to be doing stupid mudra energy. And in this moment, I'll do some light language as well. Shiti pama aya ate kema kaya oshete ma toya ape pema aya ate kema kaya ate hema haya ape hema haya ape heya haya hama hashateya ate kema koya. Shipi pama aya ate kema kaya ate hema haya ate hema hoya. Sipi hama haya ate kema kaya ate tema taya oshete mataya. Sheepy bama haya, ummi haya haya, aina haya haya, haya haya. You're not repenting for your sins. You are not paying penance. You are not the victim of your catalyst, of your reflections. But you are just migrating into becoming who you truly are as a soul, as a consciousness, as source in human form, as the most angelic, prophetic, profound version of yourself. So just say that you're done with all the things that you're done with and let it go and put it in a ball of energy. And as you put it in that ball of energy, just send it back to source and start allowing yourself to protect the blessing.
Ishtar. Oh, you.
Take a deep breath, dear beloveds. Exhale. Take one last deep breath. And when I snap my fingers, you'll be in an elevated state. Essential nature of knowing of who you really are. We may die a million times, but it is the resurrection when we come back, the most purified human being you've ever seen. But you are not just a human being anymore. You are God. But you are not the Omega or the Alpha, but you are an individuation of oneness. It's not about believing, it's about knowing. We believe a lot of things. We assume a lot of things. But just to know is enough. And where you are at in this specific moment is where you are supposed to be. So be happy where you're coming from and not where you're going. Take one more last deep breath and forgive yourself and move on. Just move on and go about your day and be happy about who you are and that you're coming home. Dear beloveds, I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day. We have to get going. I've taken too much of Morningstar's time because she has a hair appointment. So, what I want you guys to understand is that you can always make an appointment with me or Morningstar, and just understand that you're blessed, and understand that you are where you're supposed to be, and that if you need help, we are here. So enjoy your life and enjoy your day. I love